my favorite girl. I'll always love my mama. She bore me endless world.
980 WCAP. Jack's Cafe. Jack Baldwin, Chris Pouplon hitting all the buttons and making it all sound good. Hey, a couple quick reminders, Chris. We talked about this a little bit yesterday. There were a couple of free community forums going on. Healthcare is on the forefront of many people's minds. You know, what are we doing about healthcare? Well, our good friends at Lowell General Hospital at Circle Health, who are... Did you have to go get anything x-rayed after? You didn't break anything. All right, I'm glad about that. They've got a couple of forums going on prioritizing healthcare needs for the greater Lowell communities. And there's one going on tonight, Tuesday, February 25th, from 6 until 7:30, which is happening up at LGH, right up at their main campus at Clark Auditorium on Barnum Avenue. If you want to find out more about what is going on, if you can't get there, they are doing one tomorrow night. See, the cool thing is about it, if you can't get there, they're coming to you. They're going to do one in Billerica at the Billerica Public Library on Concord Road in Billerica coming up tomorrow night, and then a couple more coming up in March as you join them for a series of free forums to share the findings of the 2013 Greater Lowell Community Health Needs Assessment. So that is really interesting. All right, another thing I just want to tell you just quickly, because what is it that I say all the time, Chris?
If it's free, it's for me.
You're absolutely right. It is a free Saturday coming up this Saturday at the American Textile History Museum, one of my favorite places in the entire world. And it is Super Saturday, this Saturday. And you can get the whole family. I think you guys should do this. Making cool stuff. I'm not going to go into it any more than that. Just that there's all kinds of stuff, hands-on activities and displays to check out. And they are all free. Making cool stuff this Saturday, March the 1st. Does that mean spring is not that far away, buddy?
That's right.
I think that we're only about 10, maybe another week away from when we spring forward, right? With the clocks. Is that a week from Sunday?
I don't know. I just go when the news tells me to do it. And then my phone does it by itself. And
you know what? What did we do before our phone did it by itself?
I don't know.
One year my phone didn't do it. And I was really upset with it. But it did it later in the day. It was kind of like you. It got around to it when it could. Shall we bring in the trendy mommy? Annmarie Seldon, our good friend, the trendy mommy, is here with us. Annmarie.
I am here. How are you?
Wow. Are you all excited on the, recovering from the post-Sochi Olympics?
They yawned. I didn't really, I got into it. We watched it. But the only thing I was really interested in was the skating and some of the skiing.
Yeah, well, you know what? The skiing is out of control. You know, these people are now skiing upside bench. You know, it's the same people on the skateboards. You know, skateboarding upside benches, upside down.
You mean snowboarding?
Yes. No. They were doing it on skis this year, too. They had some of those little things that they would jump up on and ski around.
Yeah, it's very, very dangerous.
Yeah. Well, not so more dangerous than being a dog in Sochi, but hey.
There were some PR snafus coming off of this Olympics, but I guess it all worked out because they, for hosting, they won the medal count.
Yeah. Does anybody really care?
That was pretty big.
Yeah. What are some of the events? Now,
skating.
Being the trendy mommy, did you guys all gather around the TV with the kids? And what were some of the things? Skating is always cool. Ice dancing, is that what it's called? Ice dancing, skating, dancing.
Yeah, that was great. I thought that was fabulous, and it kind of talk to your kids about hard work. The couple that when the ice dancing came around, they have been skating together for 17 years. Yeah. And they won a medal before, but this was their first gold medal. So that's quite a great accomplishment.
Yeah, because you know what? I just have I have trouble with any sport that somebody is judging you because it's just so, you and I could be sitting next. Oh, wasn't that fabulous? Well, it wasn't as fabulous.
Well, I think for the everyday consumer of, or just person who doesn't really understand, because I was saying that, I thought, the second American who was in the ice skating competition did great. and our neighbors whose daughters actually skate.
Oh.
And I thought she did great. What was the problem? And she's like, well, technically she didn't land. She landed, from a regular person, it looked like she landed fine, but in the from the technical perspective, from skating, she landed like in the opposite direction. It wasn't a strong landing. So there were some technicalities that they really judged them on.
Well, and that's the big difference between the Summer Olympics and the, like gymnastics. And I know that your kids, and a lot of folks in gymnastics, the big buzzword is, oh, did she really stick that move?
Right.
You want to
either land it. It's not like with ice skating. It's very precise, precision footwork.
You don't want to.
They really have to land a specific way.
Yeah, you don't want to stick the move.
But it was interesting because I did see this program on raising an Olympian.
Well,
and I did watch that with my kids, and that was really interesting because the sacrifices, not only that the parents have to make, but also that the children make.
When and this is a great topic, Annmarie, that we should really delve into, seriously. When do you know if your kid is talented enough or not? And I hate to say that. You know what I'm saying?
It's tough.
Because
certain sports, I think you at a very young age, like watching the Gabby Douglas story. I mean, it's a struggle for some parents, like her parents, who didn't really have enough money to have her, get her the actual, the right leadership to get her to where she needed to get to, but eventually she did. For sports like that, I think it's a very young age. But for some of those other, like skiing, for example, I mean, I'm sure a lot of these Olympians started at a very young age. But it's some of them. I think you have to be older to kind of understand what it takes to get there.
Well, you know what? It's interesting. We were talking about the Winter Olympics, but we probably know this more closer to home about the Summer Olympics, because right down in Burlington, and a lot of kids that went to the place that was a gymnastic place that has had some Olympians, right?
Yeah, so 2 Olympians came out of that facility, Bresnians in Burlington.
Right. So
they're really focused there on cranking out Olympians.
Well,
so it's very competitive, just very competitive. A great gym, great instructors, great coaches, but very focused. And if you go there, you have to be very focused. But a lot of these Olympians had to overcome, at a young age, challenges, and they also had to leave their parents at a young age. That's the decision that had to be made, whether to get the proper training. I think that there was a ski jumper. He was in the middle of the country, but it wasn't a cold climate. Like they didn't have snow, so they would make snow in the backyard. So he eventually had to move somewhere that they had snow that he could actually practice.
And then you get into the whole, the whole aspect of nature versus nurture, right?
Right.
Which is tough. And
I think there's a combination of you have to have a natural talent for it, and you do have to work hard, but there has to be some sort of it comes easy to them. It really does.
But you do need the most expert training, and you got to get the key people to show you the thing. And I would love to know, and you saw that thing, and I saw it as well, that fine line about where do you stop and where do you continue, as a parent and as a kid.
Yeah, there was. I remember the mom saying, well, "We don't know anything about this. We don't know anyone who's done Olympic ski jumping, and we don't even live anywhere near the cold climate." So it was quite interesting to see. And plus, I think the mindset has to be there because the kids can't be nervous. They can't. I think when a lot of them, I think they were saying that. Maybe this was the separate Nancy Kerrigan special that I actually did watch.
Oh, yeah, that thing was...
A lot of times they'll bring in a sports psychologist for the mental aspect of preparing for these games.
Yeah. It really is amazing. And, there are so many people within the sound of our voice right now that have gone through this, whether they're soccer moms or whether they're hockey moms. And you got to be up at 4 o'clock in the morning to, take your kid to XYZ rink because that's the only time they can play. And then you got to shoot them down to, Rhode Island because they got a tournament.
Right. And so the cost factor also plays into it as well, because not only are you... paying for just regular lessons, but then you have to go above and beyond that, and then each competition costs money. I know for our gymnastics, each meet that you go to is an extra fee involved in that as well.
Is it becoming a rich man's sport, even the Olympics, that, you need money to do that, or are there ways that you can get around that, have you seen?
You need the know-how, you do need the connection.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I think that there's a percentage out there that no matter what sport you do, I think rarely it comes down to maybe like 1% of the kids make it, I thought I read that somewhere. So there's a very small percentage. And then our friends who are skaters, their mom brought up the point.
Oh.
You have to factor in all those other kids who got to that point, who spent the years practicing, parents spent all the money and didn't make it. There's hundreds of those kids out there who got up to that point and just for some reason maybe didn't make the team or who didn't win that last competition, nationals that got their placement in the actual Olympic team.
I mean, we've all heard the term helicopter parent. This is like turned into super whirlybird type of parent. Where do you go from there? Or and it's almost like you said, at some point you can't do any more, and you have to turn your child, if you think the child has the talent, has the potential, onto somebody else. And that's got to be a really difficult thing, Annmarie.
Yeah, I can't. I mean, we had that discussion when we were watching the Gabby Douglas story, and she was, 13 or 14, I think, when she moved away from her family for 2 years. She was away for 2 years.
At what age again?
I looked at my kids, and I said, could you do that? Yeah. Could you move away from your...
Yeah.
And it wasn't close either. It was clear across country.
Yeah. It was interesting stuff, so just great stuff.
But it's definitely inspiring. I think the kids see, that just what the athletes go through, and it is amazing to see once they hit that landing or the perfect run or the perfect routine, and how amazing it is. But the pressure must be enormous.
Oh, I can't even imagine. And you're looking at, the diversity. You get somebody like a Bodie Miller who's like on the other side of age.
38, isn't he like 38 years old?
I think he's the oldest Olympian, going right now. But some of the kids that were, in some of the early, and maybe even more so in the gymnastics. That's more
skating. Well, there was the 15-year-old who was from. Now there was a 15-year-old from Russia, and there was also the 15-year-old from the United States.
Yeah.
So, certain sports like skating, you really only we had this discussion as well. There really only is maybe one opportunity, or maybe two, to go to the Olympics. Whereas gymnastics, you only have really one opportunity. Rarely does an Olympian gymnastics get to go twice.
And how are you able to, deal with that kind of pressure at 15 years old? I'm sitting at home, I can't even deal with it.
Yeah, and actually the 15-year-old skater did beautifully.
Yeah, I thought so.
She did a really good job, and maybe because the pressure was off her, it was kind of all the other two were expected to do better.
Maybe you just get in the zone.
Yeah,
you know what? If anybody out there think they have a budding Olympian,
I
more power to you.
I play tennis like randomly every once in a while in the summer, and someone's like, "Let's play a game." I'm like, "Ooh, no, I don't want to do that." That even makes me nervous. I'm like, "Ooh, I can't,"
Hey, before we let you go, and thank you for the great conversation on this. And as a parent, it's tough. I know, right?
Yeah.
Where is that line?
It's hard. We just went through a gymnastics meet last week, and my daughter was commenting, the only people that got placements, like the first 4 overall, they were did well at all 4 events, got the actual trophies. So that was like a big thing to go for, was the trophies. But she noticed, well, obviously to get first, you had to place first in every single event. So they start to see it.
That's kind of tough. All right, we'll continue on next week. We'll take a look at some of the things coming across your desk and the like. But thanks for the follow-up on the Olympics. Appreciate it. And if people want to find out more, and this is a great topic for parents to talk about that may have kids that they want to push along in some kind of athletic activity, and where is the pushing, where is the shoving? That's the whole thing that bothers me, Annmarie. Is like
it is tough.
It's a tough one. So they can talk about online, right, at trendymommies.com. Or they can always follow you on
Twitter.
Yeah.
At Trendy Mummies.
All right. Annmarie, we'll talk again next week. Thanks so much.
Good, thanks.